What's up, Epic 7? New Hall of Trials is a treat, I gotta tell you. This is some difficult content, and it's time gating a lot of things for us. I'm not super thrilled about the layout of this. I've been pretty open about that from the start, both with my community and with the developers. Let them know how you feel about it. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Be fair, be even-tempered, don't flame them. But jump into this comment section by clicking on this little square here in the corner. And then, let me move my mug out of the way here. Click on this little gear cog in the bottom right-hand corner. And then you go over here and you click on Customer Support. When you get to the Customer Support section, after you're done being flashbanged, slide over to I have a suggestion for Epic 7. Click on I have a suggestion, click on Inquire. Come in here and put in your email, okay? Select your account, then slide on down to Title and Hall of Trials Concerns. And then in the comment section where you can give them your suggestion, let them know that this content is only letting maybe the top 5% of people who play this game have access to the new exclusive equipment. And that's not okay. My recommendation has been, as a first time clear reward, give 40. Don't just say, it sucks, you're not happy. If you complain about a problem without proposing a solution, you're whining. Don't be a whiner. Tell them what you don't like about it, tell them what you do like about it, and then give them suggestions. Because this is my biggest issue with this. Oh, and by the way, once you're done with everything, go down and click register, right? This is the mistranslated word for submit. You're not registering for anything. This just sends your email to Smilegate. Now, I've already sent this to him twice, so I'm not going to send it a third time, right? I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of this. So please, by all means, let them know what you think. Here are my concerns about Hall of Trials. First, this is where we get these Fate Gaze currency, and the Fate Gaze currency is going to be used in the Fate Gaze portion of the shop to buy the exclusive equipment, but it takes 40 currency, and we're not getting any at launch. Now, how do you get the Fate Gaze currency? Well, you see, when you complete Hall of Trials, you get rewards, right? And the rewards have always been Wisdom Gaze based on how many, how good your rank point is, right? From D to getting 80, all the way up to Triple S Plus, getting 180. But there's no Fate Gaze from this. The only way to get the Fate Gaze is ranked rewards. And that's placement, right? Now, most people will be able to pull off 25 Fate Gaze. Some might struggle a little bit and be stuck down at 20, but most will be able to get 25. Here's the problem. It takes 40 to get one exclusive equipment. There's 2 of them out there. And we're in the middle of World Cup. We're about halfway through RTA season. People are going to want these things for a competitive edge. And they're time-gated hard. In fact, only the top 5% of Epic 7, I'm estimating roughly 1,000 to 2,000 players at the most, are going to be able to get enough to buy a single exclusive equipment. That's basically like Emperor and above, and only the top 100, which is basically like Legend and above, are going to be able to get 2 Fate Gaze. Everyone else has to wait. Well, how long do you have to wait? Well, this is 2 weeks long, and then the currency drops. And then we have another Hall of Trials, and I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that the next Hall of Trials is going to be the old Hall of Trials, right? Surely they're not eliminating Dagger Sakar. Surely they're not getting rid of Nilgal and Kayron and all of that. Surely people are going to want to complete their Dagger Sakar mission. So I suspect we'll get that for 2 weeks. But assuming we get the Fate Gazes from the normal Hall of Trials as well, at best, that would be 4 weeks. 2 weeks for this one, 2 weeks for the next one. An entire month before people down here have enough currency to buy even one of the 2 exclusive equipment. That's 8 weeks to get both of them. That's 2 months, long after RTA is over, before you can get both exclusive equipment. Plus the exclusive equipment, it's got some RNG to it. How you gonna feel about rolling that 5 speed on Briar Witch's series? You're gonna roll another one, right? Well, you're gonna have to wait another 2 to 4 weeks to get the currency. It feels really bad. And I think the best thing they could do is give everybody enough currency to buy one, get their foot in the door. It's not going to slow people down doing this content, but that's what I'm pushing for. Let them know if you agree or disagree. But enough about that. Let's talk about, for those who have it, for those who have the units, for those who have the gear. This is how to get into these high-ranking positions. Now, what do I think you're going to need to end in the different ranks? Well, I think in order to get top 100, you're probably going to need 30 to 35 million points. I know, it's a lot, but I think that's where it's all going to shuffle out, right? I think to get top 5%, you're going to need 20 to 25 million points. Yeah, not kidding. And down here is going to be the people that are in the 5 digits, but not above 20 million. That's my assumption. We won't know until we get further and how far the bloat is, how much up against the edge of people's gear quality we've gotten. I hope you guys are gentle and don't blast me out of the top 100 just because I showed you how to do these fights. So, here's the thing too. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the balance patch goes into effect. And the balance patch is seriously going to impact ML Vivian's ability in this, to a point where she might be the meta. So we might not know where the top end scores land until we see the impact of the balance patch on ML Vivian. So I wouldn't worry about going too nuts on this until we see the impact of that. Now remember, we have free unequip this weekend and free unequip the last weekend. I strongly recommend you spend this weekend practicing Hall of Trials, getting familiar with the turn order, getting familiar with the tuning, the RNG, lack thereof, the movements of the units, so that when next weekend rolls around, you'll be able to compete for your pole position and get your high score. Especially if you have Vivian, and especially if she's as meta as I think she's going to be. But enough said about that. I'm going to do several videos on this. I have done several different teams, and I know the moment I put up a video, I'm going to get what's a replacement for Luna, what's a replacement for Alots, what's a replacement for Acades. I'm going to do them all, guys. I'm going to try to put out one a day showing different teams, and I'm going to start with this one. It's not my highest scoring team. You'll have to follow the channel or hit that like button, punch subscribe, and then you will be able to see my high scoring team in action. It's not an uncommon team. You can click on ranking and look at my high scoring team right here. But to see the gear, to see the tuning, you'll have to check into that later. For now, I'm going to show probably what is the easiest team to get into the top 100 with, at very least to get you into that top 5%, which is really where you want to be. And tomorrow I'll have another video up and so on and so forth. I will also be streaming Hall of Trials just about every day, so if you want to catch my streams in the mornings, go ahead and check that link in the description for my Twitch. Give me a follow there, and when I punch go live, you can jump in, ask all the questions you want. So let's talk about the specifics of Hall of Trials. Increases the attack and health of mage heroes by 30% and grants them Essence of Magic, which is a unique effect. We'll get into what that does more here in just a minute. When 2 or more light elemental heroes are on the team, increases attack by 40% and speed by 20% of all allies. So we want 2 light elemental heroes, so we get this damage and speed boost. It's critical, guys. You can't do it without 2 light elemental heroes. And ideally, we'd like the DPS units to be mages because they're going to hit a lot harder. And we would like the debuffers to be mages because mages get this Essence of Magic effect. Now, what this Essence of Magic effect does is it makes you ignore the effect resistance of the target. So they've done it, guys. They've actually done it. They've removed 15% RNG from this fight. Hall of Trials no longer suffers from 15%, and that alone is fantastic. What they've also done for Hall of Trials is in the break phase, non-attack skills do not progress the exhaustion bar. So you can use non-attack skills as much as you want. It's only when you strike the enemy that you move the exhaustion bar. Now, when the boss is attacked by a hero, it increases the exhaustion gauge by 5%. This isn't talking about in the break phase. This is talking about creating the break phase. You see, unlike past Hall of Trials, we're not beating down the boss until we finally get to the break phase, or we drop its health all the way down, we get to the break phase. In this case, we're not dropping the health down, we're increasing the exhaustion bar, 5%. So you need to hit her 20 times. And on the 20th hit, you will trigger break phase. And that's how you do the big time damage. Now, it does not increase on an extra attack, dual attack, or counter attack. So you do all these extra hits, it doesn't count. It all counts as just one hit on Yufine for pushing the 5% exhaustion gauge. Now the most important thing, when the hero in the back row skill effect makes the boss unable to be buffed. So in other words, when the back row hero sticks buff block on Yufine, it increases the exhaustion gauge by 40%. That's the equivalent of 8 hits, right? And this can only be activated once per turn. So buff block on any other unit is not going to increase the exhaustion gauge, but buff block on Luna, or whoever your back row unit is, be it Auden with her S1 buff block, Angel of Light Angelica with her S3 buff block, whoever is in the back row giving buff block, you get 8 hits, which is important because we are on a timer. Yufine will go berserk if we don't kill her in a certain number of turns, so you can't delay on this. Now let's talk about the units. First, we're going to run A-Lots. Give A-Lots your fastest gear possible. It's important that he cycles and cycles and cycles. His ability to take turns means your other units' abilities to take turns. So put your fastest gear on A-Lots. Don't worry about health, defense, effectiveness, anything but speed. I mean, give him enough health he's not a glass cannon and dies to a sneeze, but give him your fastest gear. And we're going to run the Spirit's Breath artifact. I hope you have a plus 24 or higher one, otherwise you're probably in shambles. Let me tell you, plus 27 Spirit's Breath still has a 5% chance to not proc, and that bricked so many runs. So many runs. 10% I think is about all the RNG I could take. If you've got a lower level Spirit's Breath than that, you can try it out, but if that Spirit's Breath doesn't even proc, or doesn't proc even once, it can brick your entire runs. So I hate that this event seems to be written around using A-Lots on a near max Spirit's Breath artifact, but it is the way it is. If you don't have A-Lots, or if you don't have a max level Spirit's Breath, it can still be done. Your score won't quite be so giga high, you probably aren't getting that top 100 spot for sure, but I am pretty sure we can still get you into the top 100 to 5% range, so you can get enough currency to buy an artifact. I'll demo those teams that run without Oxlots in a later video. Now on this team, we're running Luna as our not only principal but solo DPS. So Luna, I built as much damage as possible. Now I tried just ramping her HP up. I think I got her up to like 33, 34k HP without crit. She did about 100k less damage per hit. So you want to ramp as much HP and crit damage on her as you can. Now, you're probably noticing a couple of odd things about this Luna, right? I mean, okay, the Hall of Trials artifact, that makes sense. We want her to have the artifact that lets her do giga damage, right? But what is going on with this crit chance? It's 69%. Nice. But 69% is all we need, and I'll tell you why it's all we need. 69% works because we get plus 15 from Elemental Advantage, and we're also going to get plus 16 from Midnight Bloom that we're running on Horizon Acades. That was the only way I could build this. If you're able to do this in such a way where you don't need Midnight Bloom, then you could put a damage boosting artifact on Horizon Acades, something to the effect of a Warhorn or something, but I was able to get so much more damage with Midnight Bloom on Acades, and that is 16% plus the element of 15, that's plus 31. We are at 100% crit chance. And if you want to see some real cooking, we're at 300% crit damage. Now, why am I at 300% crit damage? Well, that's because if we go over to our next unit on the team, is Fire Acades, and you'll notice what artifact Fire Acades is wearing. She's wearing Fan of Light and Dark. Every 2 non-attack skills, I've got a 70% chance to give a destruction buff to the highest attack unit, and that highest attack unit is currently my Luna. So that 300% crit damage, we'll get that crit damage buff and go right up to maximum 350 damage. Now be aware, you cannot overcap with Fan of Light and Dark. It is a 50% boost to a cap of 350. So if you're 325 crit damage, it'll go up to 350. If you're 349 crit damage, it'll go up to 350. So get her as close to or as under 350 as you can, then you can stack all the rest into HP. Now, I know my Luna stats were a little bit tough to emulate, but hey, speed doesn't matter. Just do your best to get her there. Keep her as slow as you can, in fact. As for Acades, though, we're going to run Acades as fast as we can. Now, you do want to turn her imprint on because it's a self HP imprint and she heals based on her own HP. So that will increase the strength of her heals, but don't stack HP, stack speed. Everything into speed. Speed, speed, speed. You want to make your Acades as fast as possible. It's important that she cycles turns. You don't want to have A-lots wasting time pushing her up. You want A-lots to be doing things that promote your team, while Acades naturally cycles around and heals. As for an exclusive equipment, in a perfect world, I guess, go for the one that gives you additional healing when she uses her skills, but they really don't matter. The effect resistance one is the least usable one. The one that gives debuffs can help if you're running a rage set. We're not running a rage set, so we're not worried about debuffs. And finally, we get to Infinite Horizon Acades. Horchata here is the pivot unit. You can run several different units in Horizon Acades spots, from Guider Aether to ML Vivian to Auden. As long as it's a light unit, you can run just about anything in this slot that you think might promote your team. Now, Horizon Acades is here because I said I wanted to give you the easiest team to climb into the high score ranges with, right? And her additional cleanses make her a shoo-in for this fight. Her artifact doesn't really matter, so I'm giving her Midnight Bloom to boost Luna's crit chance up to make her something that I can build. Even though Luna is a HP scaler, attack does matter, so I'm giving her the attack imprint off of Horchata, and you want Horizon Acades to be very, very slow. I'm not kidding. Drop all the speed off this unit. And the reason is, if you run her fast, she is going to inevitably get a chance to S1 inside the break phase. If you run her slow, you can get away without her doing any attack skills, and that's going to let you get through the break phase without wasting any hits from her, because she hits like a wet noodle. You want her there for support. You don't want her to take away from damage. Run her slow. And that, my friends, is it. Here's how the fight goes. At the start of the fight, Yufine will use her S3, putting debuffs on your entire team. Now, the tech to this fight is you need to hit Yufine 20 times to push you into break phase, but if you get buff block on Yufine, then you can take 8 hits all at once, 40% of the progress bar. So it's important we get buff block, but first we have to get rid of the immunity. The way you get rid of immunity is you hit her 5 times while you're not wearing any debuffs. So we cleanse with Acades, we S2 with Luna, and this will count as 1. You'll notice it said unequip on her. Okay, Acades has got a debuff, so she won't count towards the buff blocks. There's the second hit. We'll go ahead and hit with this one. There's the third hit. Dual attacks do not count, so it's still only 3 hits towards removing buff block. We'll S2 ourselves since we can't push the buff block. Here's a 4th hit. Now we just need 1 more hit, so let's go ahead and just S1. When this hit, watch the immunity on Rampaging Yufine. Boom, immunity is gone, so now we're free to stick debuffs. We'll go ahead and S3, more to heal up than to cleanse the debuffs, but this will keep us moving. We'll just S1 here, that'll progress us further. Every hit is half of a tick. There's 10 ticks, you need 20 total hits. She is 1 turn away from her ultimate. You notice the R skill at the top is still dark, so we're good. So we'll go ahead and get 1 extra hit in. We'll use the buff block skill. She'll immediately cleanse the buff block, but watch how far the break bar moves. Boom, 40% filled. We got 8 ticks in 1 motion. And this is important because you'll notice in the upper left-hand corner where it says 16 beside a very angry face, that's how many Yufine turns we have before she goes berserk. Not for the stage, for the entire fight. So you want to make sure that we progress this as quickly as possible. We need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more hits in. So let's see. Before she rampages, you know, we're not worried about removing buff block anymore, so we'll just self-cleanse. Yeah, we'll just S1 attack. There's another tick. Dual attacks don't count towards moving the break bar. There's another one, and 1 more hit. Looks like we're 2 hits away from pushing into the break phase. Yufine does get 1 more attack off. Her frenzy bar in the upper left-hand corner goes from 16 to 15. We only have 15 turns left to finish this entire floor off. So there's that hit, and this will be the last hit. Now you can target the eggs if you need to speed tune entrance into the break phase, but this was fine, right? So let's push up. Now when you use a non-attack skill, you give the highest attack unit the special attack buff, so she is going to do extra damage when she takes her turn. You'll notice all of these non-attack skills are not moving the counter above Yufine's head. Only when you hit her do you progress the break bar, so non-attack skills don't count. So we want to make sure that everybody uses non-attack skills except for Yufine. Horizon Acades, we want to be pretty far back. That's where you can kind of attack the eggs until Acades takes a turn, is at the very end of the line, and then you can push phase, because Acades is the only unit who potentially has an attack skill. Let's drop this big nuke in and see what we do. 4, 5, 770 damage. Not bad. Let's push her up again. Between her own 50% CR push from her S2 and Alots's 50% CR push, I'm sorry, everything's cut in half, right? Alots's push is 50, Yufine's push is 25, but that just about covers the whole bar, so it's really easy to cycle her. Now, remember, Horizon Acades S2 is a CR push, and then her S3 is a big skill. You want to go S2, S3, then back to S2 again. That way you can get Acades through the entire fight without having to do an attack and wasting a turn. So there's the S2. We can go ahead and push Luna up. You'll notice we got the destruction buff from Fan of Light and Dark off of Fire Acades. So this, with the destruction buff, she's now at 350 crit damage, and this should hit real nice. 850k damage in 1 hit. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Now the damage you do accelerates. The higher the break phase, the more damage you do. So don't feel discouraged if you don't think you're doing enough damage here. You'll get there at the higher levels, right? So let's cleanse up. And let's push. Now something you can do too, if Luna loses the destruction buff, you can start using Alots to push Acades to cycle her skill to get the destruction buff back. Because inside the break phase, you don't lower her frenzy. Spend as much time here as you want, getting it perfect. We refreshed the destruction buff, so we're good to push Luna and start doing damage again. She's got all the buffs. This will be another big 850k damage. Now remember, if you are going with a rage set on Luna, I've had people say, why aren't you running a rage set? If we do it like this, we don't need to worry about a debuff inside the break phase. If you're doing it with a rage set, you'll need to make sure that you push phase with Luna's buff block. If you get the boss up to 12 ticks and then you use her S3 to put buff block on her and that pushes phase, she will keep the buff block into the break phase and that will trigger your rage set. That was a little bit too much tuning for what's supposed to be the easiest team, so I went ahead and chose to run her without rage set. We're up to 7.5 million in the first break phase. We have got 1 more hit on Luna. Let's see, we'll push her up here. We don't have Fan of Light and Dark ready yet. We're just going to have to go without it and push. May as well just push Luna up because I don't think Acades would cut anyway. She might. 50% push, she might cut. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're missing out on about, what, 60, 70k damage on this hit? As good as it gets. Actually, that looked like a lot more than 60 or 70k damage. But anyway, regardless, we're into phase 2. We got to get to phase 3, and it's just like the first part. We've got to hit Yufine 20 ticks worth of damage. Buff block counts as 8 ticks worth of hits to get her to push into the break phase. We can only put buff block on when she no longer has immunity, and we can only drop immunity by hitting her 5 times before she ultimates with no attack, with no debuffs on us. If she ultimates, it resets that counter. You'll have to hit her 5 times all over again, so you got to get that off early, and because of that, we'll go ahead and heal ourselves up with Acades. With Acades S3, we cleanse all of the debuffs. This is why you want Acades fast. You need to make sure she takes these turns. And now we can S1 with Alots and go ahead and get a tick on the bar. Luna can use her S2. This will be the second unequip hit. And now we're all debuffed again. So now we are no longer counting ticks to remove the buff block. We've got 2 against the buff block, and we've got 2 against the break bar. Acades gives herself a barrier, heals up a little bit. Now that she's S2'd herself, let's go ahead, even though we don't count towards removing the immunity, let's go ahead and get some hits in. Every single hit progresses that break bar 5%, needing 20 total, so we need 12 hits plus the buff block from Luna. That one counted, so now we're at 3 hits towards removing the immunity. Occasionally check the bar. You can see there where Yufine's next attack was going to be her S1, so we know it's going to be a single attack into Acades. Not an AoE, so we know we're not going to take debuffs on the majority of our units. This will let you know whether or not to hold back on Acades' skills. Always check the bar. For S2 is ready, she's going to scream and debuff your entire team. If the S1 is the only thing that's ready, she's going to single target attack Acades. That's very important on knowing whether or not you use or hold an S3 off of Acades, whether or not you use Alots to push Acades up or push a damage dealer up. But regardless, here we go with another hit. This should be hit number 4. And with an S1 here, we're at hit number 5. And there goes the buff block. The buff block, or the immunity. The immunity will be down until Yufine S3s. And we are a full round away from that. So let's see. Yep, the R is not lit up. So let's just... we may as well just push Luna up. Actually, no. Let's just hit. Let's hit... We got to push that bar up, right? We need more than just the 8 from buff block. So we still have 1 turn left, so we drop the S3. Watch this push that break bar up 8 points. There we go. So we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks left. We need to hit 4 more times to push the phase. So it doesn't matter if you're debuffed or not for those last 4 ticks. We're not worried about removing buff block anymore, so we just got it 4 times. Acades' S3 heal is ready. Yufine is going to do her AoE attack. Her S3 skill is ready, which will put debuffs on everybody. So let's see, there's 1 hit. I'm going to go ahead and heal. I'm worried about too many bleeds stacking up on my Yufine. That might kill her. And then here is 2. Now she's going to do her big trauma attack, put bleeds on everybody, but that doesn't matter because once we're inside the break phase, we're going to be scot-free on cleansing. I'm going to just go ahead and do an attack here. We'll be plenty good to cleanse this stuff later, and I want to make sure she has non-attack skills inside the break phase. You don't want to use your non-attack skills outside of the break phase because you do not want Horizon using her S1 in the break phase. Only want her to use her S2 and S3 skill. So we attack with the S1, now we just need 1 more hit. 1 more hit to push into the break phase. I don't want that first hit to be from Luna, but you know what? Alots is fast enough, he's going to cut. So I'll go ahead and use the S2 to heal up here. That'll put the destruction buff on Luna, and then we can push phase. Oh, I should have pushed phase with Acades, and then I could have attacked with Alots. I got the destruction buff on Luna, but I'm not going to get the attack buff. And the attack buff would be better than the destruction buff, I think. As crazy as that sounds on an HP scaler. But we push phase. Luna drops her S3 in. We don't have the special damage buff on her, so we did kind of pitiful damage. So we lost some points there. We S3 cleanse. This gives the special buff to Luna. Now she's got the greater attack where she does double damage. That's what the little cross swords means, is the double damage. We push her up. Now we've got attack buff and the destruction buff. We should hit really heckin' hard on this one. For phase 2 break, we do 1 million damage. Remember, we only did about 850k in the last break phase, so that's how much more you're able to do here. So we'll push Luna up. We lost the destruction buff, so this will be a little bit less. The destruction buff, without it, we do 917. So the destruction buff was worth about 900k damage. Or, sorry, about 90k damage. Not bad. Push with Acades. Remember, with Horizon Acades, you always go S2, S3, S2. That way she doesn't waste a turn inside the break phase. We did not get the destruction buff from our free... It's not a free... It's a plus 30 artifact, but it's only a 70% chance to proc. So unfortunately, we missed out on our destruction buff. We S3 here to heal up. And you know what? I can push... I could push Acades and get the destruction buff. I should. See, this is what I meant about this coming weekend when it's free on Equip. Jump in and get used to the ebb and flow of this fight. It really will help you out when you go for your real score the following weekend to understand the movements and the CR manipulations of how this fight works. I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I'm going to push up Luna. Hindsight being 2020, I probably should have pushed up Acades and gone for the destruction buff. But it is what it is. Use Horizon Acades S3 here so that she doesn't waste a turn doing lame damage. You cannot attack the eggs inside of the break phase. They're turned off. So if you accidentally screw it up and you don't have any non-attack skills, Horizon Acades is going to waste a tick on the break bar, and that's going to hurt your run big time. You don't want to do 35k damage instead of a million damage from your Luna. So we S3 up. It's not going to do anything for us, but it's a non-attack skill, so it doesn't progress the break bar. It doesn't waste a turn. We S2 ourselves. Hopefully, this time, we get the destruction buff from our artifact. It procs, and we got it. We got the destruction buff. Fan-freaking-tastic. We're back to doing really good damage on these last couple of hits. We S2 this in, and this should hit for about 1 million damage. There we go. And we can push her up again, get one more big hit off. There's another 1 million damage. And that is... Oh, nope, we have one more attack. So we squeeze off our S3. We still got that one turn left. Now check it, right? If I pushed Acades, I could have gotten the destruction buff on Luna. Now, something to be aware of is a lot of us are used to clicking on the numbers beside the names, but be careful about that because the number beside Luna is really close to the CR bar. And if you accidentally click on one of the circles on the CR bar, you can accidentally click on a different unit than Luna. Luna's hitbox totally overlaps the CR bar. So instead of clicking on the number 4 here, instead click on like the largest spot on Luna that you can find. Right? Click on the largest spot and you will make sure that you activate Luna and don't activate the CR bar. Now, hindsight being 2020 once again, I should have pushed up Acades. I should have gotten the destruction buff. It would have progressed us a lot faster. Extra 90k damage we gave up there. But this gets us into the third phase. You notice at the top, we have got 9 frenzy counters, 9 Yufine turns before she frenzies. So we have got to get through 20 hits. And she's hitting a lot harder and moving a lot faster. So this last phase is tough to get this in 9 runs. So let's start off by cycling Acades' skills. Trying to get her heal back. This S2 also has a cleanse in it. So you can strategically use this S2 not just for the push, but for the cleanse. And I think we'll go ahead and cleanse Luna, because Alots is going to be cycling Luna, and that will make it easier to get the kill. Acades and Horizon Acades, both those bleeds will fall off on their turns, so only Alots, who's never going to be hitting. Oh, there it is. There's the 5%. 5 freaking percent for my level 27 artifact. That's okay. We get 1 hit off, and this will count towards our 1 hit against... with our 1 hit with no debuffs. Now everybody's got bleeds, but Acades' tuning is perfect. We S3, we cleanse all the debuffs. Now we need 4 more hits so that we can get the buff block on and get the progress bar pushed. There's a hit from Lots, there's a hit from Acades. Sometimes S1s, guys, are the best way to go, over pushing. There's 4 hits. We need 1 more hit to get rid of the buff block. There is our 5th hit. And now, I say buff block, I meant immunity. And now immunity's gone, and now we can push up. Actually, do we push up or do we S1? Oh, this is what I meant, guys. You notice how the 2 on Luna is overlapping? If you click this, you could easily wind up pushing up Acades instead of pushing up Luna. So try to be careful. with the hitbox on that. So we'll push up Luna, we'll use the S3, this will put up buff block, that'll give us 40% of the break bar in one blast, bam, like hitting 8 times all at once, which is good because we only have 7 more Yufine rotations until she berserks on us. We're going to S2 so that we can take the hits that are coming in, and now we got to start racking up points. So there's another hit. Everybody is debuffed. That doesn't matter because we're not worried about buff block anymore. We're worried about bursting her down before she takes 6 more turns. We got plenty of time. Our tuning is good. We'll heal up here so nobody dies. Just gonna smack in here. We need... Okay, I can't see anymore because she's going berserk. Looks like we need 3 more hits. So this will be... 2 more hits, just 1 more hit, and this hit should push us into the break phase. We're in the final break phase, guys. The home run. The home stretch. We push Achades up. Achades can S2 herself. Remember, non-attack skills do not move the break bar, so use as many as you want. We did not get a destruction buff on Luna, and we don't even have an attack buff. She has got the special attack buff for double damage, but we're missing attack and destruction on her, so this isn't going to hit as hard as I would have wanted to, but hey, we'll take it. This is 1.03 million in 1 hit. We can do better than that. Big mistake here. I should have used the S2. Remember, your order of operations is always S2, S3, S2. And because I did this, it's going to mess up my Achades rotation, and she's going to use a regular attack at some point in time in this fight, and it's going to cost us about 1 million points. So we push Luna up, but we don't get the special attack buff on her. That's very unfortunate. We're not going to get the extra double damage from this hit. We're just going to have the attack buff, so... Again, we're really bricking our damage. Look how weak this hit is. No destruction buff, only an attack buff, 975k damage. Now, I know it seems like a lot, and it is, but wait till you see how much damage we do once we get the double damage buff plus the destruction buff. Now, in this phase, you can afford to do things like this. You can afford to push Achades, and then you can have Achades self S2, and this activates Fan of Light and Dark. So now we have attack and destruction and the big double damage attack buff. Watch how hard we hit now. 1.22 million. That's better. That's more on target. We're at 22 million points and we still got a good chunk of break phase left. We just go ahead and S2 here. See what I mean, though? We are running out of turns on Achades. She's going to steal some damage from us. But hey, 1 more big attack, 1.22 million. Heal ourselves here. Just stay slow, Achades. Don't take up too much time. Let's push, let's go push Luna and hit. We got to kill this thing fast before Achades wastes a whole bunch of attacks. There's another 1.09 million. We got about 1, 2, 3 hits left on the bar, so we heal ourselves. Good, we got the destruction buff on Luna. And we got 5%ed. Oh my god, I hate plus 27 Spirit's Breath. Wow, so we just trashed our score. We're gonna lose 1 million points because of this. So instead of pushing up Luna and doing 1 million points damage, because you can't hit the eggs in this phase because of reasons, instead we do 96k damage instead of 1.1 million. Sorry, 1.2 million. We still got our 1.2 million hit off, but we wasted an entire turn, and here's the worst part, another 1.2 million lost because we screwed up the rotation. So RNG cucked us out of 1 million, and pilot error cucked us out of 1 million. So this is 26 million points. Should have been 28, 29 million points if you didn't make the mistakes that I just made. 28 to 29 million points will secure you a spot in the top 5%, so you'll be able to get your EE. I don't know if 29 million is going to get you into the top 100. It might get you into the top 100 now, but I think by the end, the top 100 is going to be entirely populated by 30 million score points. But I do think we'd be right up here with Cookie at rank 4 at 29 million had we had we not kind of botched it at the end. So a little bit of a learning process. The more you do this, the cleaner it'll be, the more familiar you'll get with when to push some units over others, the tricks and tech in this fight to be able to min-max the points. I hope this helped you guys out. I know a lot of you are going to be screaming, hey, who's a replacement for this or that unit? Why are you holding out on us? Why aren't you showing us all the units? Guys, this video is almost an hour long already. If I showed you all the teams, it would be insanely long. So one last time, we'll go over the units here. Oxalots, fast as you can build him. Put him on Spirit's Breath. Pray to God you get 90% or higher Spirit's Breath. In a later video, I will show you how to do this without Alots or Spirit's Breath and secure a placement. Don't fret on that. I'm not holding out on you. It's a 2-week-long event, and really only the last weekend matters, so eventually we will get through all of these. Acades, as fast as humanly possible, and if you want to take advantage of the Fan of Light and Dark artifact, that is a great way to squeeze some extra crit damage onto your damage dealer. Just make sure you don't overcap the crit damage on your damage dealer. EEs don't matter. They're all rubbish. I guess at best you can put the EE that gives her extra healing when she does her S2. I guess that would be nice. And Infinite Horizon Acades, she is here as our secondary cleanser. She is what makes this so easy. You can replace her with damage dealers and push your score even higher, but it makes the tuning very, very difficult. If you struggle with that, following videos, probably tomorrow's, will show you how to do it without Acades, how to push those higher scores and not fret so much about the tuning. There is a little bit of practice it takes. Once you get in the rhythm of it, things are a lot easier. I'm using her to hold my Midnight Bloom so that I can lower the crit chance requirement to make my Luna easier to build. That's why my Luna is at 69% crit chance. That's 69% plus 16 from Midnight Bloom plus 15 from Elemental Advantage gives us our 100%, and that's why she is at 300 crit damage. 300 crit damage plus the 50 from Fan of Light and Dark. If I proc the destruction buff, maxes out her damage and allows me to pump the rest into health, getting as much damage on her as possible. Best artifact out there is going to be the Cruel Mischief artifact, the Hall of Trials artifact. If you do not have the Hall of Trials artifact, you can run Caladra. It's the same amount of damage, but you're going to have a debuff. So you're going to have to time her buff block to be the thing that pushes you into the break phase. You don't do it before. You do it when you've got 12 hits on the bar, and then you drop her S3 to give the buff block to push you in the break phase. Then the buff block will persist, and you will have a debuff to activate your Caladra. Same story if you're going to run a rage set. Since I didn't have any real debuffers on the team, I decided to not go with a rage set on this one. And that's all we got, everybody. I know you're jonesing to see the other teams. You're jonesing to see what I used to get into the top 3, at least temporarily. I'm sure I'll get knocked down a little bit. But guys, it was a very long video. There's a lot more I have recorded. I will start putting them together, and I will get them up so that if you do not have units like Horizon Acades, you'll be able to run Guider Aether. I've got units that run Angel of Light Angelica. We've got teams that don't run Alots. We will find a way to get this done with units that you have and hopefully help you secure a spot in that top 5%. At very least, push your score as high as possible so you can get these nice, juicy new exclusive equipments. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section. Join my Discord. There's a link in the description for the Discord if you just can't wait. You can go ahead and shoot me a DM and I'll let you know what some of the teams are that I use, maybe send you screenshots of units, but just be patient. This is out for 2 whole weeks, and only the last weekend really matters. That's when everyone's going to climb. So until then, you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care, everybody.